Hello and welcome back to another episode of Finance Agents Live. This is episode number 105. I'm Tim MC. I'm here with Trey Sublette today, and we're going to be talking about the costs to start a funding company. Trey, why the heck are we talking about this?
I have no idea. I mean, we talk to people every day, people who are consultants all across the country. Some have large organizations, some are one-man or one-woman shows. So everyone's always looking to be better at whatever they do.
Right, so this is something that we do a lot. We help people get started into the funding industry. Last week we did a show about the upcoming pending possible recession, most likely, but you never know. It looks pretty likely it's going to be happening. We talked about during the last recession, the Great Recession, that's when we started our first funding business, it was for me, and we had a lot of success during the downturn. And when we sort of laid out how that worked, we had a lot of people asking us, hey, that sounds like a good thing for me to get ready for and do. So we thought we'd go over the costs and everything so you understand exactly what it looks like in order to get into the funding business yourself if that's something you wanted to do.
And I've said this many times that no matter the economy, business owners are always going to need help. No matter if it's a good economy or bad economy. If you have a diverse portfolio of programs, processes, and good people, you'll be able to not just survive, but thrive as a consultant.
And by the way, we didn't always know that. I mean, just so you know, to give you a little look into the window, you go back 10 years when we started Finance Store, things were pretty ugly all around us, and we had a weekly meeting. Just about every weekly meeting, we were gloom and doom, preparing for the worst, expecting everything to go away, expecting all the funding programs to collapse, and it just kept not happening. We finally realized, oh my God, right? We thought these people who used to be able to qualify for funding, now they don't qualify for anything. But then the people who never would have worked with us before because they could do it on their own, all of a sudden they're coming to us. So you basically, as the market goes up and down, your client changes, but the products, as long as they're still there, can be very lucrative. So this is why we're doing the show. Again, that was a little over 10 years ago that we started Finance Store, and within 4 years, we got to over $5 million in annual revenue, right? So we went from not quite zero, but not far from it, to $5 million in annual revenue. This is what we're teaching people to do now. In late 2015, we decided we were going to start doing this, so we launched it in 2016, the ability to start your own member office. Now, that's people that do it under our infrastructure, but to go a little bit beyond that, we're just going to talk more generally. If you wanted to start a funding company today, what would you need in order to do so? And then, of course, you can decide if that's something you want to do with us or something you just want to do on your own. All right, so Trey, what are the 7 things that you need in order to launch a funding company?
Sure. Number 1 is basic infrastructure. You got to have a framework,
the basics
to start with, and so to start to build your foundation. So, secondly, a brand. This is big, Tim. You love this. You love brand building. So
you got to have one.
You love collecting brands. So you got to have a brand. Third is, and I think this is one of the most challenging things for consultants all across the country, is products. Having a multitude of products to fit all different types of scenarios. If you're someone who only deals with SBAs, then that's going to be tough maybe if the downturn of the economy or merchant cash advances, but you want to have a good, diverse portfolio of programs. Next, leads. Leads are gold in our industry. You have to have leads. These are potential clients. So they're different variable of type of leads. Then you have training, training on the programs, processes, sales, and so forth. Technology. Technology is big. You have to learn how to tech integrate everything in your infrastructure to your company.
Every single time he says tech integration, Darren doesn't appreciate it. Trey specifically does it just to bug Darren, so just so you know.
It's a terrible term. You're just integrated.
We don't really understand why he hates it so much. That's why we keep saying it.
So technology is a big aspect. And then last but not least is time. There's so much time that goes into involving building processes, developing programs, developing people. Time is probably the biggest of these 7 things.
Okay, so there you go. That's what you need. You need some basic infrastructure. You need a brand. You need products. You need leads. You need training, right? Either from a prior job or you got to figure out how to do it. You need technology in order to turn it into a system so you don't end up just being you on your own. And if you don't give yourself time, then the rest of the things are pointless because you're never going to get there, right? So these are the items that we're going to go over in a little more detail today. So let's talk about basic infrastructure. If you want to go start a funding company right now, the first basic thing is we need, $10 million in the bank to lend to people, right, Trey?
Right, that's right. We only had 8, so that's about it. But first and foremost, a phone system. If you use your cell phone.
Gotta have a phone.
Phone system. Answering service goes right along with that. Computers, you have to have the appropriate computer, the way to interact online. And then for me, this is important to me, is a quiet place to work. So you can actually be focused on your task at hand. So, don't want to be working at Starbucks.
All right, so those are the basics. You need a phone, you need a computer, you need a quiet place to work. With that, you can start a finding company right now. It's really that simple. You can even use your cell phone. I honestly don't think it's that great. There's people that do it on a regular basis. And if your phone's cutting out in the middle of a funding call, it's kind of hard to connect with a customer, but it can work. In a pinch, use what you have. You don't have to have the fanciest computer. In an extreme, you can go out and buy a Chromebook for $200 if you need. So I guess I should probably put in there internet. You need a phone, computer, and internet, and a quiet place to work. When I say quiet place to work, if you're talking to somebody about getting a loan and you hear their dog barking in the background or the baby crying, both of those things are great things to have in your life, and they don't give you a lot of credibility when you're on the phone, right? You don't have to, by the way, you don't have to have legs to open a funding company. You don't have to be able to go places. You don't really have to be able to talk to people. You could do it over email, but voice is a good thing to have. So phone, computer, internet, quiet place to work. With that, you can start, and you can work with partners that can supply all the other things. So that is really the absolute basic. Can you think of any other thing?
Well, one thing
absolutely critical.
People do ask this every now and then. Do you have to have a physical location, like a place on a street? But no, home office. As long as you have that quiet area, home office is definitely a minimum of what you need for the basic infrastructure.
In fact, I would go so far as to say the last thing you need is to go get a business lease or a place to work to start, because it's a significant cost. It's one of the biggest hidden costs, and you have got to pay it every month whether you're making money or not. So I advise try to find someplace to do it for free until you hit the cash flow coming in, and then you can afford it. Now, it's a great thing to have. It's a great place to meet clients, but 95, 98, 99%, what do you think, of our clients, we never meet in person. We talk to them over the phone. We refer them to funding programs without having to meet them. So if we didn't have a physical location besides this room for us to shoot in, it really wouldn't impact our business.
Okay.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so those are the basics.
I just wanted to kind of cover it. If somebody feels the need that they have to have an address, use a UPS box. It's not even a PO box. It's just a regular address that you can have with a suite number. You don't have to meet anybody there, but you can receive mail there.
That's true. I mean, there's options, right? Besides just going out and getting a full commercial lease, you can go to places where you could do office sharing. Darren's talking about if you want to have a mailing address so that people don't mail you at your house. I get that, although I'm real nervous about adding expenses before you're adding money. I would say start at your home, don't add any expense until you have to. Now, there's a very popular place, WeWork. They're all over the place. I went and checked one out a couple years ago to see if I could advocate it for people starting funding companies to work with us. And no, unfortunately, right? If you go to WeWork, it's a real cool environment. They do some strange things, man. They get unlimited free beer. I don't know how they do that and people get work done. But it's a lot of open areas where you can sit and do work. But I talked to them, I say, look, if you're on the phone all day talking to people about funding, they said, no, that's not going to work here. They have these little phone booths that you got to go hide in, and people are going to get mad at you. You'd have to rent a private office at WeWork, and now you're looking $300-400 a month. Again, you could get a whole office lease somewhere else for that. My first office lease before Finance Store for another business I started, it's like $400 a month for an office you could fit 6 people in. So WeWork is great, but only you have to have a private room or you can't talk. So anyway, you don't need it to start, right? But what you do need is a brand. If you start talking to people and telling them, I can help you with your funding, and they say, who are you? You say, well, I'm Chuck Chuckerson. Well, that's cool, right? That's cool, Chuck. But what's your brand? Remember, you are competing with Chase and Bank of America and really established funding companies. Now, that might sound a little intimidating, but the good news is in today's day and age, you could relatively inexpensively put together and create a complete brand which allows you to compete with the big guys. But if you don't do that, you're going to lose credibility in the people you're working with. So what are some of the things that go into having a brand to be a funding company, Trey?
Well, I know one of the things you're very strong about this as far as your brand, don't have it be Alice Johnson Finance. You know, you don't want to have your name. Have it be something that you have passion for. Maybe it's more real estate driven or business funding product driven, but you want to be able to build up a company and sell it off down the road. right?
Yeah, why wouldn't you want it to be your name? First of all, it's hard to sell your company when it's named after you. What are some of the other reasons you wouldn't want it to be named Chuck Chuckerson Inc.?
Well, liability. Reduce your liability.
Right.
It doesn't really say much to me, Chuck Chuckerson Inc. That means nothing to me. Besides, he's redundant. So,
hopefully, if you're growing, you're going to have staff, right? And the staff are going to be promoting you. It's kind of a weird thing, but they're unlikely to have a real sense of ownership of their job if they're really just selling you all day. They're always going to feel like they're just selling you, right? Meanwhile, if you turn it into Blue Dog Funding Company, they could say, "Hey, I'm a part of Blue Dog Funding." They're not going to feel like I'm a part of Chuck Chuckerson. That's just weird.
And it's easier to create a logo now. Blue Dog Funding. You got blue. You got a dog instead of what does Chuck look like. So logo is also something that's super important to kind of convey what you're all about. In a simple snapshot. So.
Right. So to have a brand, you need a name of the brand. You need a logo. You need a URL, like a domain name, right? You're going to need a website. It doesn't have to be amazing, but you got to have something. You'll want to have custom email address. That's something that's super important to me. I hate it when I see chucksfunding@gmail.com. That is super unprofessional, and you're going to lose a lot of clients because of it. And you probably need business cards. The last one's a maybe. You don't necessarily need to have it, but in the beginning, you're going to be networking with people. You're going to be talking to people you know. They're really cheap, honestly. $50, you can get some business cards, and it creates a complete package.
And you mentioned email. So professional email. This is one of your pet peeves. Right?
Yes.
So you want to have a professional email and not a Gmail or Yahoo type of address.
If you're not sure about the email thing, let me tell you straight out. Again, not everybody's going to agree with me, but every time I get an email that's like chucksfunding@gmail.com, I immediately think, this guy is not a real business. This guy has nothing behind him. If he's working with somebody, I really need to be talking to them because they're the real company, right? If it's chuck@chucksfunding.com, I think, hey, this guy's got a real business. It's not a super validator, but it's an immediate loss of validation for a lot of people if you don't have a professional email address, right? And when you see that professional email address, you go to that domain name, and you're going to expect to see a website there. So, again, it doesn't have to be super fancy. It could be a single-page website. A lot of companies do that these days, but you need something there that says who you are and what you do and who you serve, so that people know that they can trust you and want to work with you.
I've got a point about the email address. Make sure that when you choose that domain, just like Tim is saying, that it's Blue Dog, something that can have a resale, isn't just you. Your email will actually benefit from that, because if you have Chuck@Chuck's Funding, well, it sounds like it's a one-man show. But if you have Chuck@BlueDog.com, now it sounds like they don't know how many people are there. You could have staff of 60. You could have staff of 1, but they don't know, and that ambiguity is super helpful.
Yeah, you don't want to look like a small fry. You want to look like big guys, and you could do that fairly easily these days. So that's the good news. What are the costs to put all this together, Trey? To go out and pick a name, that's basically free.
Sure.
Right? You can pick any name. I've seen a lot of bad names get recommended to us. I think some of our current offices don't have the best names, but I'm not going to say who. What about creating a logo? Any
Logo
idea?
creation, I defer to Darren. Darren, how much does it cost to create a good, strong logo?
From an independent designer.
Right.
Depends on how much you want to spend. They have varying degrees. So with some companies, you can go like 99 Designs. You can go Fiverr.com, and the price is going to be based upon what you receive. So you can just get like a PNG or JPEG where it's just the image of the logo, and you can use that. You're going to pay a certain price. You can pay more, and this is what I highly recommend for everybody.
Pay more.
Always go. Always go for getting the source file. This is going to be the vector image that the designer used to create it, because of scalability. If you have something that's a JPEG, like think of you take a picture from your phone, as you zoom in.
So
we're getting down into the weeds a little bit.
What do you think the range is, Darren?
Cost.
What could a range be?
Oh, I would probably say you could probably get anywhere from $12 for the cheapest to upwards of $150.
All right, if you go put a project on 99 Designs, you're really starting at $500. 99 Designs is a cool place to go to because you put a request on there and you get all sorts of different options submitted to you. $500 is kind of a minimum for most designers. What he's talking about with Fiverr is you go spend $12 or $50, whatever on Fiverr. They're going to go use an existing logo and modify it to work for you, and that can be great as well. But if you want a custom thing, normal designers are going to cost more.
I also recommend Envato. They actually have, you can purchase graphics from them, which would be logos. So you can buy it from there, and they'll include the source file.
Right. You're going to need to know how to use Photoshop and other programs. So if you don't know, there's a lot of learning. It's probably easier just to go buy it, frankly. But anyway, you need a name, you need a logo, you need a URL. URLs can be very expensive. You can go buy a domain name on GoDaddy for $15, but it's probably going to be Chuck's Funding, .co and spelled wrong. It's difficult to get. If you wanted to get BlueDog.com, forget it. That's I'm not kidding. It's at least that's like $100,000 domain name. I wish I could buy that one. One of the things I think about with the name and the logo or the URL is try to have something that you can say over the phone and people will be able to type it, right? When you have weird spellings that are long and complicated, like Complex Funding Solutions LLC Incorporated or something like that, now it's super long. There's so many ways people can screw that up because it's so long. Try to make it short.
Shorter the better.
Short.
So that's branding.
Right. Okay, so moving on from the brand, products. Trey, you care about products, right?
I care.
Why do you care about products? What do you want to see in a product, and how difficult is it to get them if you're brand new to this?
So products are important because these are the solutions you're providing to your clients. And so first and foremost, we want to have a product that works, right? Got to make sure it's going to work and not fall flat and not be a solution to the client. So
is that a thing?
That's
Products
a thing.
that don't work? Why would you be worried about the product not working?
So unfortunately, a lot of people say, hey, there's this new product out there I heard of. It's more marketing. So vetting is important. And vetting is a minimum of getting at least one done, right? That's the minimum, but you want to have it be done over and over again. So you want to vet the product. Doesn't matter if it's like a merchant cash advance type of product, more traditional funding product, real estate product. So vet it.
I cannot stress more how many times somebody says, I've got this awesome funding program. Somebody with horrible credit can get $1 million. Or whatever the BS line that they put, and they leave out the 82 other criteria that are necessary to actually work, and you go and you try to sell this thing, you get a bunch of leads or people that are super interested, and it turns out that it is way different than what they explained. If you're offering products that you don't know somebody who's actually done it, somebody's actually worked with that company and funded those programs, you are more than likely unintentionally lying your butt off to somebody, and you're going to end up making no money, be super frustrated, and maybe quit. Vetted products are probably the most valuable thing we offer out of it. You know, our technology, we've spent easily $500,000 developing our technology, but if you don't have a good product you could sell, none of it is worth anything, and it's so many people lie about products. So vetted products,
right.
Super important.
Vetted products, and number two is be competitive. You want to have products that are competitive in the market. So, what's an example of that?
Well, look, if you're offering a product and somebody, you give the offer and they have 5 other offers from people that are better prices or more funding or whatever they care about, again, you have nothing, right? You need a product that if it's expensive, they better not be able to get it anywhere else.
Right.
Or if they can get it everywhere, it better be less expensive, right? It's got to be a competitive product, or again, you're just wasting your time putting out offers to people that are never taken, because people aren't dumb. They're not going to pay a lot for something they can get somewhere else for cheap, right? Would you buy shoes for $100 if you can get the exact same shoes for $10 somewhere else? No, obviously you wouldn't.
So unique or cheaper.
Yeah, right? So they got to be vetted. They need to be competitive when you actually make the offer. And then the last, even more important than the other two things, Trey?
Lucrative.
You got to make money.
You got to be able to generate revenue for your consulting company, pay the bills, and be able to live life.
Yeah, there's some very competitive products out there because they're so cheap for the client. The problem is you don't make any money. You make $10 or something once you do it. You put in a month's worth of work. It's not worth it. So they got to be vetted, they got to be competitive, and they got to be lucrative. You actually have to make money, or again, there's no reason to get into it. Okay, so somebody's coming into this. They think, all right, I got some products. I know what to offer. I've got a brand. I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to start getting my leads. How do people go about getting leads? What's the cost of that? So by the way, we could do 18 shows just on this. This is really high level.
Big thing here. So there's all different types of leads, right? There's paid for leads. You have an agent network, or you have keystone relationships. So at the point, first and foremost, you have to start your own network. You have to start, networking, building referral sources, right? That's the key. What we've done for years. Or you're buying leads, and that can be super, super, super expensive, from raw data to filter data to shared leads where there's very competitive or exclusive leads. So we've had relationships in the past that spend $10,000, $15,000 a month just in paid leads.
Yeah, there's, basically there's 3 different buckets for getting leads. You can go out and make your own leads, kind of consider it the panning for gold philosophy, which is where everybody should start because you can start with no infrastructure or cost, right? It's free, you can go out tomorrow, start panning for gold. Second is to try to buy data from other people, buy leads, and convert them. And that's kind of like buying unrefined gold. You're hoping to melt it down and that you're going to make more money than whatever they sold to you for. Or the third is doing outbound marketing. That's right, paying people to go out in the woods and try to find gold for you. That is potentially the most expensive, but the most lucrative when it works. But man, you could waste a lot of money looking around in areas where there is no gold at all. So everybody should start off with panning for gold. It's cheap and instant, and then be very careful as you move up that ladder for, buying data or buying leads. Be real expensive. You want to go buy raw data. A lot of people in the merchant cash advance industry were buying lists of people. They're just calling around to businesses. Hey, you need money? You can buy that data for about 5 cents to 50 cents per record. Sounds cheap, but sometimes the cheapest leads can be the most expensive because you're going to spend the next 3 months beating your head against the wall talking to people who have no desire for your product.
And this is what we found out many years ago at Finance Store.
We tried it.
So
I've tried everything, by the way.
So instead of paying for leads for our internal funding specialist, we put into the technology, built the affiliate platform, and that became its own lead generating machine. And so now you have tax accountants, web designers, mortgage professionals referring people who need capital, and that's a warmer type of lead source.
Right, so we developed a system in order to make leads easier and cheaper of that affiliate network. And when people work with us, they can tap into it and they don't have to worry about ever buying leads because basically you'll never buy leads through our system. And then just last, we were talking about marketing. Again, I'm going to go back to the vetted products. Probably the biggest mistake I've made ever, and I've seen a lot of people do it. Never, ever, 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 ever market a product you haven't proven first. It is the number one best way to overpay for your marketing and lose a bunch of money. I've lost 40 grand in marketing campaigns or more that never generated anything, and that's a lot of money, right? I mean, I don't know how big you are, but it's. I know companies that spend over $1 million a month in marketing, right? They don't start off doing crazy numbers. They work up over time and make sure the stuff works. So very important that you do that as well. Okay, so you're starting off on your own. You want to do this. What about training, right? You just go watch us on YouTube. That's everything you need, right, Trey?
Sure.
Just free.
So training, this is huge. Having a support structure. I can't tell you how many minutes, hours, days I spent working with people like Frank Allio. Oh gosh. Sorry, Frank.
We love you, Frank.
Just joking. So no, but training is all about. There's going to be an effect that follows the training. The more you work on something, sculpting the knowledge, the processes, you're going to get results down the road. So it's hard to be self-taught. I guess you can Google it.
You could do a lot. You could get a lot of knowledge through self-learning, just like watching our videos. I hope you learn stuff from this, and it's great. But there's always going to be a difference between what you sort of are able to learn on your own or to applying that to real life and getting coaching, the kind of stuff you go if you get a job at a company. If you work at a funding company, you're going to be going into trainings all the time. You're going to have experts, people that are doing it all the time, teaching you how to do it right then. That is really difficult to get. Now, there's organizations out there that do training systems for how to become a funding broker, and they range anywhere from $25,000 to $65,000. Those are the prices I see most. And then you're off on your own. I mean, they kind of say it's a system, but really they just train you for a week or two. A lot of them have an in-office. You just fly out somewhere, sit in the office for a week or two, and then boom, your 25 grand's gone, and you better hope you learned it. And this training is a lot more than what you're going to pick up in a couple weeks. So
you don't know what you don't know. So it's great to have a lot of different voices, a lot of different input, a lot of different avenues of knowledge coming in instead of just one person.
Right. Okay, so we went through a lot of different things. Finally, we get to technology. Why do I need tech? I talked to a lot of people that are afraid of technology, people that it's really difficult for them to use a computer. So if they can avoid it, great. I get it. But why do you need technology at all, Trey?
Well,
sounds like a luxury.
There's 4 main reasons. First and foremost, lead management. So the days of file folders or whatever it be is kind of outdated. So lead management is super important. So you need to be able to build up your database and be able to access that database in an efficient manner. Second is website. So
I really need
you
a
know,
website. I mean, I could just walk around and say, hey, I got money on the street. Does that work?
with the borders broken down as far as consulting now in this day and age, where you're not just dealing with someone locally, having a website super important. People jump on, check out your site. A site can be a major detriment if it's not done professionally. I know that's a big pet peeve. So website's huge. Automation, automation's important. Having email reminders. Having an automation would take a ton of time to figure out if you're doing it on your own.
And remember what we're talking about here is how do you start a funding company that actually is substantial, right? You're never going to get to $5 million a year or more if you don't have lead management, because you're going to have so many leads coming in. You're going to be losing leads. If you're losing leads, you're going to cut your income in half, literally, and you're never going to be able to grow. Automation, you'll find that today the computers will do a lot of the work for you. They can do first contact, they can do follow-up emails, they can send reminders, they can remind you who to call. And if you're not doing that, then you're just on your own with a scratch pad trying to keep up, and you're just not going to be able to grow. You can do it on your own. Just on your own, you probably make it without any of this stuff. But if you want to build any kind of a team, you need automation. And then the last thing that he was going to get to, I call it brand autonomy, right? You can go out and start working with other funding companies, Chuck's real estate lender, and take their application and give that out to somebody. But as soon as they see that, they're going to see the other brand. They're going to say, oh, I thought I was talking to a funding company. I'm really not. This guy's just a pass-through to somebody else. So brand autonomy is something you need technology for, right? You need the ability to update your applications, update your loan offers, whatever it is, in order to maintain your brand until it gets to the point they've actually accepted an offer and they're really getting funding. Heck, some of the lenders will allow you to maintain your brand forever. Somebody will never know that they got funded by somebody else. That's brand autonomy, and that's important for working with partners and to grow a real company and not just be a pass-through. Remember, at Finance Store, we were working with all the major lenders, but we had our own product, our own brand, and people got our letters and our offers, and they signed up with us. It's the same kind of stuff that we provide to our member offices. Even though they're a member office of finance agents, all their people just see their brand, right? So it's totally possible to work with other people and maintain brand autonomy, but you need technology to do that. All right, and what's the last thing? Trey?
Time. My biggest asset is time. So this is super important. So time to build up this foundation of your consulting company. I couldn't imagine, or I guess I can't imagine how much it would be, but insane. So 3 months minimum to cash flow positive. Positive cash flow for at least 3 months. And this is people can do this part-time, full-time, side job. So everyone's be a little bit different. So it really depends on how dedicated they are on a daily basis or weekly or minute by minute.
Now the 3 months thing, in case you're wondering how that works. So again, I'm all I can do is pull from my experience. When I got started, my first month, I turned in 3 engagement agreements from clients that I signed up at the end of my first month. And then they went into the funding process, and it takes a while for somebody to complete the funding process, pay, and for me to get paid. Boom, 3 months, right? It happens pretty quickly. If you're coming into this and you don't have the time, that's really probably the minimum actual time, and then it takes a while to get consistent. Make sure your commissions are coming in consistently. What you'll find is during your first year, you're going to have a great month where you make a ton of money. All of a sudden, the next month, you make nothing. That's because you might be working constantly and putting people in, but you can't control that everybody's qualified or that everybody will fund at the right time. You got to give yourself some time. As a related example, I got a buddy of mine who became a business broker. He's going out and selling businesses. He didn't get a commission for a full year, but his first commission was like $100,000. So put the time in, and he's been doing it ever since and making a lot of money. All businesses take time to get started. Even if you go out and you buy an existing franchise, it's going to take you time to get going and learn the system, and you're going to lose money for a while. The most successful businesses take time to get started. If you come into this and you don't give it enough time, then you've wasted the time that you put into it or any money. So make sure to come into this with the idea that you're going to work it for, give it a year, right? I mean, what do you think? So how much time do you think they need in order to know that they're going to succeed?
I actually break it down time into different categories. Time to educate yourself, time to work on consultations, servicing leads, time on building referral relationships, time on building your technology. So it's all different categories when it comes to time. So if I try and divide up our member offices into thirds. I have some member offices that are happy doing 1 or 2 clients a month. fundings. I have some that are more towards 5 per month, and then some want to be doing 10 to 15 per month. So it really depends upon the person's goals and how much time they want to dedicate to their own consulting company.
That's right. So come in, give it some time. Expecting it to be super fast and instant is always a mistake. It's possible. You can do it. But again, if you don't give yourself enough time, then that possible maybe is going to happen, might shoot you in the foot, right? Come in and give yourself the time to do all the things Trey talks about in order to have the foundation to be able to succeed. Now, a little bit about us, right? We talked about Finance Store, and we got a lot of experience there, and we bring that into Finance Agents. We offer all of our infrastructure to people. So we really check all the boxes of everything we're saying that you need in order to get started. We've spent over $500,000 in tech development, provide a website, custom domain, email address, everything to people that start a member office with us in order to start a funding business with us. You get over 10 years of experience, people like Trey who've sold or offered funding to more people than you may meet in your life. Right? Over $1 billion in funding, 7+ vetted funding programs. Each funding program might have 20 to 30 lenders in it that we've actually worked with before. Not they sent us a list and said, we do this. We've actually funded programs before. We've got support staff that do everything from lead management. Some of our member offices, we have people in the office that call them and set appointments for the leads and set up the appointment for the member office. So that's a lot of support. And a full marketing system that allows you to get leads without going out and even wasting $40,000 on a lead campaign that generates nothing. So there's a lot of infrastructure. What do you like the most about that we offer?
I mean,
what do you see the most value
I say
in?
one of the biggest liabilities of a business owner is your staff, your payroll. And so I've said this for a while, our payroll, our support structure is work on behalf of your brand as a member office without that payroll liability. So that's a huge amount of savings. When it comes to experience, that's gold. Knowing people who've worked with different programs and processes and can transfer that information to you if you're brand new, it's great. So I usually say there's 4 different categories of someone who is either A, who needs an affiliate platform, might be a good fit to be a member office, or B, someone who needs more diverse portfolio programs to work with for their clients, or C, they need leads. The leads are gold in our industry, or referral sources, or D, they need support. If you're a one-man, woman show, you can't do everything. So I see our underwriters, our program managers, our people here at Finance Agents being their support structure.
That's right. So a lot of value. I see somebody's asking how much it costs to be an agent. Anybody can work with us for free as an agent. $84. So to be a part of our marketing system, to refer people to us, there's no cost. Obviously, you just make money. But we do have things that we can do on top of that. If you're interested in opening your own funding office, then everybody call Trey right now. Right? What do you want to do? Trey, you want him to email you?
Yeah, if you have an interest in learning more about our member office level, you can email me at Trey, Trey, at FINANCEAGENTS.com.
There it is.
And we can set up a consultation, talk about what you do, what you're looking to do, answer any questions. It's more than happy to explore that.
Well, we have other shows where we go through the costs and break it down, so feel free to watch those. I can't give you the link just in the air here, but they're there, I promise. Or reach out to Trey, somebody will let you know. And that's it. We have it in their comments.
Any questions?
Oh,
Darren?
somebody's asking if you need a license to do loans, and the answer is no, no, and no. We do not do stuff. We don't do consumer financing. We don't offer programs that are regulated as far as licensing is required, right? And we're doing private money, commercial loans that don't require licensing. Any licensing comes from the lender, and the lenders will have that, or we have our own lender's license, so we do that. Most of the programs are basically a consultant, helping people find solutions. The actual solutions provider, if they need licensing, will have that. That's not something that you need.
So we'd probably say, our standard level as an agent is more hands-off. We provide some education, some marketing tools. It's free. You can go to financeagents.com/sign up. Right, Darren? That's probably the best thing.
Yep.
Okay.
There it is.
But we have the standard level. If you want more marketing tools, higher commission structure, business cards, then maybe look at the recruiter level. Those are more of the referral-based type of levels that we have. But if you're looking to be hands-on, be trained, coach supported, that's the member office concept, which obviously you can make a lot more money.
Great.
I just wanted to point out one thing when you were talking about technology, something that everybody can do for free and helps with your credibility. Set up a LinkedIn account, a business LinkedIn. Set up Facebook, a business Facebook. Those don't cost any money. People are going to look you up. They're going to look up your website, and they want to know who you are. add credibility to yourself. Those are things that all you're going to do is just put a little bit of time into.
Absolutely.
There it is.
There we
LinkedIn
go.
and Facebook.
All right.
And Twitter. I get all my business off Twitter. That's the number one.
Tweet. Okay. Tim, thanks for having me here today. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for being here, everybody. Thanks for coming on the show. We look forward to doing a lot more deals together. If you're new to the show, subscribe. Otherwise, get out of here and go make some money. Let's do some fundings together.
All right. Thank you.